Hey, Pragati.
Hi. Um, are you Tarun?
Hey, welcome to Trojans.
Sorry, you were breaking. I couldn't hear you.
Hey, how are you doing?
All good. How are
You're
you?
doing? Yeah, not bad at all. Thank you for making at such short notice. I know we exchanged emails only this afternoon.
Yeah.
It's good that you're able to make it to the meeting.
Yeah.
We tend to start at around 6:30,
Uh,
uh, and it's one of the low attendance meetings. I should caution you beforehand because generally summertime people are traveling and holidays and whatnot. But you would still get the full experience of what a typical Toastmaster meetings at Trojan Speakers is like. I'm the president of the club, and there is of course a full functioning committee that supports the club activities. So if you have any questions about how the club functions, how you can benefit from it, our team would be more than happy to help you out. Incidentally, it's my last meeting as the club president, so I would be handing it over to a new president next
uh,
onwards. But she is a great person, and she would of course assist you with whatever is needed. Can I quickly check? Are you aware of Toastmasters? I mean, have you experienced any meeting before? Is it your completely new or
um,
fresh experience?
I actually have in Nepal. I think I attended one meeting as a guest,
Okay,
and yeah, that's it.
cool, cool. So, and generally, as you might know, every club operates pseudo autonomously because um, it's like a franchise business for all
Yeah.
practical purposes. The way our club operates is that we tend to have meetings with a set agenda, but there are different thematic clubs. There are different clubs based on professional preferences. So whenever you are, committed to join any club, do shop around. There are a lot of clubs in and around London. I'm speculating you are local, because you asked to come to the
Oh
church.
yeah. Because
Yeah,
I
yeah,
checked the map and it was the nearest to where I
correct.
live. So
Yes, so
okay.
that's where we are generally based, but because of COVID, we've been meeting remotely since roughly, I would say, about a year now, a little
Okay.
more than a year. But we would be going back to some place, and most likely it would be the church.
Okay.
Uh, but we've not booked our place there yet. Um, and yeah, so what brings you here?
So I guess my fear of public speaking.
Sure, sure. Right? You're at the right place then.
Yeah, and
I,
just to be able to meet people and interact with people. So yeah.
absolutely, absolutely. And I mean, trust me, I've been in where you are. I walked into the church about 4.5 years ago, and I had exactly the same anxiety, same nervousness. I'm generally I can put my thoughts together on the written format, but when you're speaking to people, the nerves kind of take over.
Yeah.
Uh, but I've never looked back. I mean, this has been my home club, and I've been through that journey of being a member, then being part of the committee. Have been part of the committee for last 4 years now, actually,
Mhm.
and have seen many members, including myself, develop immensely. Because one thing's for sure that it's like a typical university education program, if you will. The more you would apply yourself to the education that's shared, the more you would grow. And because you need to bring to the meeting, so show up in the meetings regularly. I mean, as and when you join our club or whichever. But just by the merit of showing up, you would see things changing for you.
Mhm. Yeah.
I'll just quickly say hello to Satya. Hi, Satya. Welcome to Trojans.
Hi. Yeah,
Hello.
thank you.
Hey, I
So,
think you were also amongst the guest list for
yeah,
this week. Yes. Hi.
yeah,
So I believe you shared, exchanged some emails with Dill, if I'm not
yeah,
mistaken.
yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Cool. Well, welcome. I was just explaining to Pragati,
Mhm.
some basics about the club and Toastmasters.
Oh, is
Um,
Pragati also new to the club?
Yeah.
yes,
Yeah.
both of you are
Okay.
more timely than our members today. So I was in fact gave Pragati a kind of a precursor that today's meeting is going to be very lowly attended meeting because
Mhm.
a lot of people are away, and I would say generally in the summertime we see that dip in attendance, and it kind of picks up around autumn, and some of the most attended meetings. So we have about 28 29 members at the moment,
Okay.
and you would see most of them coming up to the meetings in closer to the winter time.
Mhm.
Summers it's a little tricky. So hey Linda, I think her audio is not yet connected. But yeah, feel free to post any questions if you want to know about Toastmasters, Trojan speakers.
Yeah,
We
sure.
are more than happy to help out with any information you need. Um, hey Linda, are you able to hear me?
Hi.
Hey, hi. Um, so I was just briefing Satya and Pragati. They are our guests tonight, and I think it's going to be one of those meetings where we have much more intimate experience. So, uh, hey, Amit.
Hi everyone.
Hey.
Hi.
Hi, Amit.
Hi Prithvi. Hi Satya. Hi Linda.
Hi.
So, um, and yeah, I mean, as I was explaining to Pragati, as and when we go back to the physical setup, most likely we'll be going back to the church, but the the club would keep you posted. What's the location where we would be meeting on a fortnightly basis? Um, but if you have any questions, any thoughts to share, do shout out. Um, uh, just so you know, the format of the meetings is that in the first half of the meeting, I mean, there are two parts to the meeting. The first part is dedicated to prepared speeches. So the members, they have nominated themselves to come up and deliver a speech that they have prepared, and they would be evaluated for that speech. In the second part is it's an impromptu speaking section. So there is a person who would come up on stage and throw random topics to people, and the speaker would be chosen randomly as well. And that's your opportunity if you want to participate in tonight's meeting. That's guests are welcome to participate in that. We would, of course, request you to introduce yourself as well, um, just so that we know who all are here, and what brought you to Trojans. I'm just gonna quickly pull up the agenda. Hey Amit, how are you feeling now?
I'm better now. Much better. We can't see you, Tanuj.
Oh,
Is that intentional?
no, it was not. Sorry.
Oh.
So I've got a new laptop. My home laptop has got a very low processing power. It's a Chromebook, and my work laptop is now heavily firewalled. So my only way into Zoom is through a web browser. So I can't fully. I'm not sure. It says that it's not able to detect my camera. Let me see. Uh, are you able to see me now?
Not yet.
Okay, you know what? I'm gonna probably dip out of the meeting and come back in. I'm not sure what's going on here.
You were going to give us the agenda, Tanuj. Are the times on the
Yeah,
agenda?
I'll publish that version for you, Linda. Just give me 1 second. I'll come back and do that.
Hi, Flora.
Hi, good evening.
I'd be here, Flora. Tanuj is- Hi, Delhi.
Hi. Hi.
Amit, do you know how we can find the agenda? I can't find it.
What did you say?
The agenda for this meeting. I
Tanuj is going up. There it is.
I think my video is still not working, right? I'm gonna. Okay.
Hi, David.
Hi, everyone. Are you able to hear me?
Yeah.
Okay, super. I think I'm just gonna. I logged in through my iPad now.
Tanuj, one small change. David will be doing the sergeant at arms because I'm on the
Okay.
lead.
No worries. And give me 1 second. Okay, we can start. That's it. Wow. Okay. Right. David, do you wanna take it away? And
Sure.
Let's hit it from the top then.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. We have a small, intimate crowd tonight, but it's wonderful to see you all. Welcome this evening. So my name is David, and my role tonight is to be your Sergeant at Arms, which means that it's my job to make sure that the logistics around the meeting flow smoothly. I'm delighted to see that everyone has their camera on, and I would ask that during the course of the meeting, you keep your camera on, but your microphone on mute unless you're participating in the meeting. It's always nice as a speaker to be able to see faces as opposed to see just names or static images. So please do keep your cameras on. The evening will include a networking break in the middle, which our Toastmaster will tell you more about. If this were an in-person meeting, I'd point out the fire exits and the toilets, but I don't know where they are in your homes. So I'll leave that to your own best knowledge and attention. And at that point, I will hand back to our president, Tanuj, to give us his opening remarks. You're on mute.
Sorry, I'm a little constrained by technology today. Thank you so much, David. I am so happy to be here tonight because it is my last meeting as a president of this club. It's been a fabulous year for me, and I hope it's been a fabulous year for the club. Today, I'm wearing two hats. Of course, I'm gonna be speaking to you as a president, but at the same time, I'm also privileged to be your Toastmaster for tonight. And what I wanted to do was, as part of my Toastmaster spiel, was to give you some good ideas that you can take forward in the new year to support the new committee. This new committee would be led by Flora, our incoming new president-elect. Hip hip hooray for her. And we are so happy because she's going to be supported with a very capable team. I'm personally very happy with the choice of people who have come forward for the new roles. And with that in mind, I would be sharing some thoughts, some facts, and hopefully for the guests, some flavor of what Toastmasters and Trojans are all about. But before I jump into that, I'm conscious that we still don't have our evaluators for the night. Can I quickly check? I can see Dil is logged in, and so is Nishtha. Could you please confirm if you're accessible right now? You might be busy with something, but I see Nishtha. Hey, Nishtha.
Hi.
Hey, Nishtha. Can I request you to be bit more dynamic than your usual dynamism and be an evaluator for I think we are missing evaluator for Aditi's speech.
Okay.
So yeah.
This is in addition to the table topics.
Yes. So because you would not be doing anything in the first half, you could actually take that on comfortably.
Okay.
And we've got Dil. So welcome to the meeting, Dil. Right. With those logistics sorted. Right. So let me first explain to our guests. I see another guest coming in. Hi, Joanna. So the way our Toastmaster meetings work are we split the meeting into two parts. The first part is the prepared speeches section, and the second part is the impromptu speaking. It's the opportunity for both members as well as guests to participate in that segment, and Nishtha would be able to speak more about that later today. But for the prepared speeches section and for the rest of the meeting, I am supported by some key people who will be helping me drive and steer this meeting in a true Toastmaster fashion. I would first like to call upon my timekeeper. So please welcome on stage Linda White to come up and explain her role and how she's going to help us keep to time. Linda White, everyone.
Thank you, Tanuj. Good evening, everybody. I am here to keep the time this evening. Time, it's an old saying I remember, I think from when I went to Sunday school, time is like a never rolling stream. We can't stop it. It keeps rolling on, but we can try to make the best possible use of it. And we do try to make the best possible use of time at Toastmasters. And the timekeeper has an important role in that, along with everybody else. So I will be keeping the time during the speeches and the evaluations and the impromptu speeches. And when it's getting towards the end, I'll put on a green light. I've never done this before online, so I'm just experimenting. So I'll make my screen green. Then when it's getting closer to the end, I'll put on an amber light, but I didn't have a good amber picture, so I've just taken a photo of some books. And then when time is up, I will put on this red light, and that will tell the speaker. So speaker needs to make sure they can see me. Okay. What else? For the speeches, there's 2 speeches, and for them, the green light will come on at 5 minutes, the amber light at 6 minutes, and the red light at 7 minutes. For the evaluations, the green light at 2 minutes, the amber light at 2.5 minutes, the red light at 3 minutes. And for the table topics, the impromptu speeches, green light at 1, amber light at 1.5, and red light at 2. And after each section of the meeting, I will come up again and tell how long each speech has been. I won't comment on the speeches. It's not the timekeeper's job to make any comment on the speeches. We have fabulous evaluators to do that. So I'll be leaving that to them and just giving you the times, and look forward to seeing you later.
Thank you, Linda. Just as an FYI to the guests, because we are not in a physical setting, in the physical setting, we cheer everybody on and off the stage with a round of applause. We can do that even now. Unfortunately, the way Zoom works is it would essentially switch the focus to whoever's loud, sound is loudest. What we do instead is we show our jazz hands like this as a sign of cheering people on and off the stage. So that's what you might have seen some people do just now. So you're welcome to try it out. Right. We don't have any Harkmaster or a grammarian. David, would you fancy picking one of those roles up?
Yeah, I'll do the grammarian. And I just see that Jackie's written, has the word of the day been mentioned? No, so I'll make it up on the fly. So good evening, everybody. My name is David. I'm your grammarian this evening. And my role is to look out for good uses of the English language, for use of similes and metaphors. And for those who aren't sure, the difference between similes and metaphors is that similes are when you're comparing something using the word like or as. So he was like a lion on the rugby field, or he was a lion on the rugby field. The first is a simile, the second is a metaphor. And that'll be the particular form of grammar that I'm going to look out for tonight, similes and metaphors. And my word of the day, not because I'm a fan, but because it's topical, my word of the day is football.
Okay.
Back to you, Mr. Toastmaster.
Thank you, David. Right, so we have the supporting functionary roles cleared out. So you now understand who is doing what. Now is the part where we actually dive into the prepared speeches section. But before we do that, as I mentioned to you, this being the last meeting for the current committee, I would request you all to, first of all, please give a big round of applause to the fabulous club officers that we have amongst us. I see Amit and Dil right now, and David as our immediate past president. I cannot express it in words, the amount of hard work these people have put in to keep the club going in such a hard year. It has been one of the most bizarre experiences, both outside of Toastmasters as well as within. But I can tell you that these people didn't flinch in a moment to actually put an extra, step forward and ensure that we are serving the club in the best way possible. So please join me in applauding Amit and Dil for fabulous service that they have given us in this last year. And we hope that
and to you too as well, Tanuj, as president of the club. Well done.
Thank you very much. On that note, as I said, I want to share a few ideas with you how you can make the most of the next year. So I did some research about what our club has done in the last 1 year. I went back on the agendas of all the meetings of the last 1 year and figured out that in all, we delivered about 61 prepared speeches. I'm not counting the competition in this tally. So 61 speeches delivered in give or take about 30 members. That's about 2 speeches per member in a year. And I know for a fact that some of the most active members who are here tonight as well, people go on to deliver 3 or 4 speeches. So the reason the average is low is because a lot of people, they love being part of Toastmasters or Trojans, but somehow are not able to be with us in the meetings on a regular basis. And that's understandable, life takes over sometimes. But it's my plea, urge, challenge to you to notch up that number from 2 to 3 to 4 or furthermore, because there's no real, ceiling here to hit. You can go to other clubs to deliver speeches if you want to. Because if we are not progressing on our education program, we are not actually capitalizing on the money and the time investment we are making here. I categorically like the program that Amit had launched, where he reached out to each one of you to ensure at least 1 speech is delivered by each member in a quarter. Do take that as a yardstick, if you will. And if we did that, trust me, a lot of great things would happen, not just for you, but for the club on the whole. Because that's what this whole, this whole business is all about, for us to prepare and deliver speeches. So my first tip as the outgoing club officer, to make sure that we don't settle for 2 or 3 speeches in a year. Instead, try to do that maybe in a quarter. With that, let's bring in our first evaluator for tonight. So the first speech would be delivered by Aditi, and Aditi's speech would be evaluated by Nishtha. Nishtha, I'm not sure if you're able to see the agenda. Do you have that handy? No? Okay, I'll read out the objectives that I see at my end. So Aditi is doing the presentation mastery pathways for the guests. Pathways is our education program. So think of this to be the education guideline that is available from Toastmaster International, on which we learn and build our skills, and then come and execute and practice those skills in the form of these meetings and these sessions. So Aditi's pathways is presentation mastery, and she's doing the second speech of level 2. So she's already completed first level. No, it's not.
Right.
Okay, so I think you're jumping.
Interrupt you here.
Yes.
I think Ty is here and he's raised his hand. So now I think there's confusion here because I don't know if I'm doing it or if Ty is gonna do it.
I think we'll use Ty's services some other time, now that we've announced that you are the evaluator.
Okay.
Welcome, Ty. Sorry, because you were not around that time, so we went ahead and announced Nishtha to be the evaluator.
No problem. No problem. Thank you.
So the standard objective of the speech is to share a common communication style and impact on professional and personal relationships. Avoid reporting on the content of this project. So that's a very generic spiel, and as most of you have seen that we appointed Nishtha as an evaluator on the fly. You have to do that a lot of times. This is your typical chatter with the boss on the water cooler, where you are asked an awkward question and you have to jump into the heat of the moment and actually deliver. So Nishtha would be evaluating Aditi. I believe Nishtha has seen Aditi speak before, and if I'm not mistaken, both of them have had a connection before. Either Aditi evaluated Nishtha's speech or other way around. So I think they understand each other's communication style, and with that, she should be able to give enough, tangible recommendation to Aditi. So I think we'll jump straight to Aditi, and we'll wait for Nishtha's evaluation later on. So please welcome on stage Aditi, and her speech title is Evaluation and Feedback, Why I Practice. So please welcome on stage Aditi Gandhi.
Hi, can everybody hear me? Great. Good evening, everybody. So today I want to start my speech with a very quick pop quiz. I'm going to show you a chart. I've taken the axes out of the chart intentionally, and I want you to guess what that chart represents. So as I requested, can I please be given access rights to share my screen, please?
Sure, Aditi, give me 1 second. I'm not sure how I go about doing that on an iPad, but I'll still try my best. Flora, I see you are the host. I think because I dropped off in the middle, could you appoint Aditi as the...
Right, okay. How do I do that?
So wherever you are able to see your participants list,
Yeah.
let me see if, and you simply need to make her a host.
Co-host.
Or
So that
yeah,
you can make the host, make her a co-host.
our plan is not supporting co-host, David.
Ah, okay.
Sometime.
All right, it should work.
Yeah. All right. Can everybody see my screen now?
Yeah.
All
It's
right.
come through.
So I will let you take 10 seconds and guess what this is, the phenomenon. It could be financial, celestial, physiological.
It
Any
looks like
guesses?
an ECG reading. ECG reading.
Yeah, you're not far. You're not far. I'm going to show you the full chart now. It's actually my heart rate performance from when I gave my first speech at Toastmasters. And you see that 61 resting heart rate and 123 at its peak. I'm going to stop sharing now before I go back to telling you more about this. So that 123 was really encouraging, of course, because what I did was I went to the weighing machine. There is no point in putting your heart through that sort of exercise and not losing weight. And obviously, as always, disappointing news from the weighing machine, but that's for another day. Obviously, I got very curious about this, and I really wanted to understand what exactly was happening here, what was driving it. And that's what I want to talk to you about today. I do understand actually that this is quite a repeated topic at Toastmasters. I know that this has been discussed a lot. And I think all of you understand the physiological drivers for this. So there's a fear of, there's a fight or flight response. What happens is there's a spark of anxiety, your body reacts and your emotions react. Emotionally, you feel fear, and physiologically, your heart rate increases, you feel nauseous, your voice muscles constrict, so your voice and your hands, everything is shaky. What I found really interesting in doing my research was this article in a psychology magazine on what causes that initial spark of anxiety. So what's the psychological reasons for that? And I picked some of the top ones, which resonated with me. First, pressure. So obviously when you think that this is a make or break event, and then, at the end of the event, you will be judged or that it's going to affect your credibility, that affects you. Second is evaluation. So if you think that the audience is holding an evaluation form and ready to give you marks and is judging you. Third could be seniority. So you think you're presenting to somebody who's more accomplished, who's senior. It matters what you present and what you say and what they think of you. Fourth and fifth could be new ideas and new audience. So if you have a new idea, never been presented before, you're worried about answering questions or the initial reaction of the audience, you think that they will react by not accepting it, trying to poke holes. Or a new audience, you might be used to presenting to your familiar host setting, and then suddenly you have a change in the target audience, and that also causes that initial spark of anxiety. So what I did was this fear of public speaking, also known as glossophobia, I tried to look for solutions for this, how to address this. And I have to tell you, one of the first ever solutions to this came to me from a very, very well-known, treasured English author. I mean, not directly to me, I have to be honest, but I'm talking about P.G. Wodehouse. For anybody who knows him, his advice, not the most practical advice. The advice was the oft-repeated, imagine your audience naked. Now, I have to tell you, it might be my lack of imagination or creativity, but I don't want to make excuses for the advice. It's just, I think, plain bad advice. It didn't work for me personally and probably wouldn't work for you either. Second, advice also came from P.G. Wodehouse. If you're familiar with the world, there's a protagonist, Bertie Wooster, who advises his friend that before giving a public speech, he should take a tipple. I have to say, again, very ill-advised for the modern day world. Not, again, very practicable, and I think more losses than benefits. And I think it might have worked for him, for the Victorian rich spoiled brat, but I don't think it will work for me. Another thing I found was New Age advice, hypnotherapy. And I have to tell you that I'm quite open-minded, but I do think if I'm, getting hypnotized, it's a waste of an opportunity learning how to public speak. I'd rather, I don't know, get calmer, wittier, read minds, or any other superpowers. And I don't know if I've confused hypnotherapy with superpowers here, but anyways, moving on. I did find if you did want to address the psychological issues, then practicing and, at least at an intellectual level, taking each of those issues and addressing them, turning your psychology from nervousness into excitement, that's what worked for me. And so that's the way I decided to go. That's how I landed here, the Trojans Toastmasters Club. And I have to say on that note, thank you to everybody. I think a real test will be when we meet in person, and I will keep recording my heart rates and I'll keep you updated. Thank you.
Thank you, Aditi. Let me see if I can reclaim the host. Maybe I think, Flora, looks like, have you joined in through the Toastmaster, the Trojans credentials tonight? I think you can claim the host.
I don't think I did, but I may have by mistake.
No, that's all right.
I have to do something to give you the host rights. If you, if I have to, okay.
You could. Oh, you know what? I'm able to claim it back here. So we're all set. Yeah. Cool. Thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you, Aditi. Right. So on to the next speech. But before we do that, a short briefing from my side. When David was leading the club for, he got, as an exception, he got to lead the club for 2 years. and he left the club in a very good position, not only in spirit but also on the report card. In Toastmasters, any club's performance, which is based on how many new members are joining in, how are they progressing on the education program, and in general, how many people are actually coming back to the club, which is a true testament of, is the club engaging members or not. We were at the President's Distinguished Club level, and I'm super proud because I was in David's team enabling the club to actually achieve that. And this year, I've been fortunate to be supported by, again, superb team, Amit, Dilla here, and they have done a stupendous job of ensuring that we retain that level even going through so many hardships. My challenge, I don't think it's much of a challenge, but what I would suggest to you is that Trojans has had a very long legacy. It's a club that has featured on numerous media houses. It's one of the most renowned name when it comes to the Toastmasters Club in London. And it all depends on how much we engage with the club. So it kind of ties into what I said earlier, but it's not just about making speeches. So spread the word about the club as much as possible. I would be doing that as a member, but more than that, support the new club officers, because they are also amongst, they've also come from us. They are actually doing an added job. They are taking on this responsibility to lead the club. So support them in whichever way possible, because there are lots of opportunities, be it, maybe just tweeting something in supporting Nishta's efforts, or maybe talking to a new guest as they walk through the doors, be it virtually or physically. There are a lot of ways you can contribute, and all of that not only adds up at the report card level, but to me, what matters most is the culture. That's what binds us together, which is why I have stayed on in Trojans for the years I have been here. And there are a lot of long-standing members here who would vouch for that. There is something very special, something you can't really put to words or really define, but something that keeps us here. And that happens when everybody comes together. So again, I'll just summarize. Support the new club officers, because everybody can use some help, and the fact that they are doing service back to you. Give them ideas, give them criticism, whatever you feel like, but do engage. With that, let's bring in our...
Tanuj, do you want a minute for people to give
some
feedback to Aditi? Yeah.
Thank you very much, Linda.
I'll give you a minute on the clock.
Yes, so let's take a minute to capture feedback for Aditi. My apologies, I completely missed out on that. And I'm just quickly gonna check. Yeah, and if you have access to the Basecamp portal, please log that feedback for Aditi over there so that she has one place to go back to see all her feedback. In the meantime, can I quickly check, Dil, are you able to switch on your camera and let us know if your connectivity is all right? Okay. Super. And we have another person amongst us. Is that Momo? I just see MM. I'm taking a punt here. That's Momo, but okay.
Yes, that's me.
Hey, Momo. Hi.
Hi.
Okay. Thank you. Thanks, Linda. That's a minute. All right. So our next evaluator for this speech that will be delivered by Flora is Dil Limbu. So please welcome on stage Dil Limbu to share the objectives of Flora's speech. Dil Limbu.
Thank you, Ms. Toastmaster. Good evening, fellow Trojans and most welcomed guests. This evening, Flora is doing her 4th speech in the dynamic leadership pathway. She will be presenting a new or a repeat speech of the ones she did previously, incorporating some of the feedbacks she received or all of them. And her speech will be between 5 and 7 minutes. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Dil. Please welcome on stage Flora. Flora, stage is yours.
Thank you very much, Mrs. Master. Good evening, everyone. Have you ever wanted to try something new and then shied away at the last moment because you were hearing a voice telling you to not do it and you felt submerged by your emotion with a big note in your stomach? Trying something new, stepping out of our comfort zone, it's something that is very challenging and very scary. But this is how we stretch ourselves, and this is how we develop and grow. So tonight, I want to share a personal experience where I tried something new. I want to walk through my emotions and explain how I overcome them. It's fair to say that over the past years, we've all had to experience new things. Certain things were within our boundary and we felt comfortable with them. Some of the other were more challenging because they were outside of our comfort zone. And over the last winter, I've tried something new. I've actually tried online speed dating. I wanted to meet someone, but it was very difficult with the restrictions. And I got tired of online apps, online dating. So when I read about online speed dating, I was very excited. It felt very appealing to me because in the comfort of your own living room, you could be meeting the Prince Charming. So I registered and didn't really think much about it. Come the day, I start feeling a bit nervous. I have all of those emotions that Aditi described in her speech about the heart racing and your note in the stomach, your voice. I start to keep your inner voice. I keep asking you a lot of questions. Are you sure you want to do this? Are you ready for this? Do you know what you're going to talk about? Why don't you just do that next time? But I managed through the day. And come the evening, I prepare myself, make up, set myself in front of my computer, and I log in. I'm actually a bit early for the evening, so I'm waiting. And out of nowhere, things get worse. So I really feel like really nervous about it. I really feel like my inner voice is getting louder and louder and just telling me, just don't do it. You can't do it next time. You had a very busy week. Just go and watch TV. But I did push myself, and I'm so glad I did it. Because, ladies and gentlemen, it was actually a very fun evening. It's actually quite a nice way of meeting new people. It only lasts about an hour, so you actually, it's just going very quickly, and you only speak for 5 to 8 minutes to one person. So you actually a good way of practicing table topic if you want to. After the evening, I felt so proud of myself, and I felt like I'd overcome a big mountain, which now that I think about is a bit overstated, but on the day it really felt like that. So I was wondering, why did this all happen? Why did I feel so nervous, and how did I overcome those? So I want to share three thoughts or three insight into this. The first thing, when you start doubting yourself about trying something new, just start rationalizing. Because when you're rationalizing, actually you put things in context, and you almost fight those emotions and really ask yourself if they are real. In my case, I just realized that I was just going to speak to people for like 5 to 8 minutes. This is not very difficult, and I could do it. So I was able to push myself. The second tip is also to reconnect with your why. So the overall purpose, why do you want to try something new? What do you want to achieve? And in my case, it's to meet someone because I want, to find a partner. So I had to start with somewhere, and I just realized I will not be able to meet Prince Charming in my living room. It will not come directly. The third tip is also to focus on what are the risks. So how risky is it that what you are trying to do, and think about the worst case scenario. Again, in this example, it was not really risky. I was just in my living room and I was just talking to people online. So if things were going to be embarrassing or bullying for the worst that I could imagine, I could just log off. So it was very easy. So thinking about those three things really helped me to push myself. And this is because our brain is just trying to keep us comfortable, it's just trying to keep us safe, but that's not how we develop. In summary, I want to conclude by hopefully summarizing 3 takeaways. The first takeaway is hopefully you've learned a bit about online speed dating, and if you want to meet someone, please have a go, because this is actually a fun event and it's only take an hour. It's very, very easy, and it's a good way of meeting a broad range of people. The second takeaway is that if you want to try something new and you feel that your emotions are taking over and you doubt yourself, rationalize, reconnect with your why, and consider the risk associated. And hopefully that will help you overcome those emotions. My third takeaway is for all of you to actually think, when is the last time that you've tried something new? Because by trying new things, that's how we stretch ourselves, that's how we grow, and that's how we expand. So it could be anything. It could be if you've never actually watched football in a pub, you could just go, or if you've never watched the French team, you could also go to a pub. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Flora. So that's our 2 prepared speeches for tonight. It's a short meeting because we tend to generally have more prepared speeches, but with the fabulous speeches that we've had, I think we've had our full already. I would now like to invite the evaluators, but before I do that, and so that I don't make the same mistake twice, here is the 1 minute to capture feedback for Flora. So Ms. Timekeeper, could you please give us a minute on the clock, and we would capture the feedback for Flora. For the guests, feel free to type it on the chat window itself. In Trojans, we tend to give feedback in a sandwich fashion. So there is commendation, recommendation, and commendation. So think of 2 things that you liked about her speech and 1 thing you think you could do better, so that you can develop her speaking skills for the next time around. And I see our Sergeant Arms is here. Hey, Simon, welcome. Glad you could make it. Thank you, Linda. Right. So one of the beauties of doing the Toastmaster functionary roles is that not only do you, you are not going through the anxiety of or maybe hard palpitations of preparing the speech, but you can actually stand on some firm ground, understand what are the rules of the game, and come and talk about your role briefly throughout the meeting. And one such role that gets most amount of participation time is the timekeepers. So I would like to bring upon Linda to come back on stage and share what were the times of tonight's speeches for both Aditi and Flora. Please welcome on stage, Linda.
Thank you, Tanuj. So for our two speeches, we had Aditi, the speech entitled Why I Practice, and she took 6 minutes and 10 seconds speaking time. There was 1.5 minutes spent getting her screen up and so on. So I removed that from the total time because Aditi was prepared in advance and everything. And that wasn't her fault that it took us a little while getting her screen going. So her speaking time was 6 minutes and 10 seconds. And then we had Flora with Try Something New, and Flora's speech time was 6 minutes and 44 seconds. Back to Mr. Toastmaster.
Thank you, Linda. Right, so now is the part where we would share the feedback and evaluations for the two speeches that we had tonight. So to evaluate Aditi's speech, please welcome on stage Nishtha Chugh. Nishtha, the stage is yours. Nishtha Chugh, everyone.
Can everyone hear me? 106, 107, 106, 105. These are my heart rates. This is my 118. Wow. If it wasn't for Aditi's speech, I don't think I would have ever thought about checking my own heart rate when I come on stage or I address a public gathering. But then 121, so maybe I should take off my watch. First up, this was a very relatable topic. Aditi, you got everybody's heart rate up, I think in one way or another, because this is something we can all relate to: anxiety, fear of public speaking. Aditi started with a hook. She showed us a chart. It intrigued us. What could it be? I at first thought maybe she was showing us cryptocurrency chart after Elon Musk said that he was not going to accept Bitcoin for the payments of Tesla. But it turns out it's something we can all relate to. She smiled. She stood up. She used her hand gestures. And it felt like as if you were talking to a friend who was standing right there in your living room. This was a very relatable topic. And it got all of us thinking about what kind of physiological symptoms we experience when we think about public speaking or when we have to give a presentation. So on that point, Aditi, I have to say that you chose a very good topic and something which was long overdue. So we always focus on the approach and the techniques, but nobody talks about what kind of changes we experience physiologically, things that no one else can see but ourselves, or our body experiences those things. Aditi brought a lot of interesting things to the speech. She talked about the advice from her favorite author, P.G. Wodehouse. Imagine your audience naked. Take a tipple. My mentor is here and he knows what I do before I have a speech. So I've been relying on that for as long as I can remember. She also used the example of hypnotherapy. So there were lots of amazing things that Aditi brought to this speech. However, I have quite a long list of recommendations as well for Aditi. You took quite a bit long to introduce your topic. It was a great start, but then right after you showed us what that was about, you dived straight into the content with fight and flight and physiological symptoms. You did not give your audience time to, first of all, make sense of what was happening and then allowing them to absorb what you were talking about. I feel that you should have also had some kind of structure to it because there were lots of interesting points that you talked about. But then I didn't see there was any structure to it. So there were lack of pauses and you could have broken down the points in a better way. And one technical problem that happened was that the slide stayed on the screen for far too long. And I wanted to focus on your gestures, your body language. And I saw you like a tiny square on my screen. And the last thing I want to bring up here is you said glossophobia, and you said it so quickly, and then you explained what it was, but then you didn't allow your audience to think about it or repeat the term. So after you finished speaking, I had to actually quickly check the Google and check the spellings and make sure that I got the term, I heard it right. So there were lots of things that I thought you could have incorporated to make this a very structured speech. You could have taken pauses. She could have broken it down to different points. And lastly, if you could next time bring your screen up to your eye level, or maybe at least up to your chest, then we can probably have a better view of your body language, and we can see probably the top half of you. So, but overall, it was a great speech, very relatable, and I can still see my heartbeats. It's 120. With that, great effort. I hope to hear Aditi give another speech on this topic. Back to Toastmaster.
Thank you, Nishta. Yours and Linda's as well, because I could see her. First of all, congratulations, Linda. Your timekeeping colors are working like a charm. So it doesn't feel like you're trying it for the first time. So good job there. Right, let's bring in our next evaluator for the speech that Flora delivered. Please welcome on stage Dil Limbu. Dil Limbu, stage is yours. Dil, everyone.
Thank you, Mr. Toastmaster. Fellow Trojans and most welcome guest, good evening again. Thank you, Flora, for delivering a repeated speech again. It was fantastic. And I also feel a little bit of excitement, nervousness in my heart, just like going on a first date or something. But every time I give a speech, I just feel like my heart is racing very quickly. So, for today, Flora did her speech again. I was probably there when I saw her previous speech, just that I couldn't remember it quite clearly, but this time she had improved tremendously on the way she delivered this speech. And what she did well was that when she did hand gestures, I could see her hands, and she used them very meaningfully, like pointing at her head, or doing the heart rate. Those gestures which I thought she'd used them very well, and I would encourage her to continue using meaningful gestures in her coming speeches. This time, I think she also had good uses of pauses in her speech, whereas I think previously she was speaking really quickly, and this time she had pauses, which I think she did really well. The other thing that she did very well is to use the three. The power of three, giving us 3 tips and giving us 3 ways to improve three suggestions. Her conclusion was really strong as well. She summarized the topic again, and then she repeated her 3 advice and tips for us all to take away. The only thing that I could recommend her at this point is for her to use more vocal variety. When she sounds exciting, she could like go, I was so excited. I could almost feel those kind of ways. Or when she's having fun, like make it sound more fun. Something in way to improve her vocal variety. She could work more on that. And overall, I would say she did very well in her speech. Very well done, Flora. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Del. Thank you to both our evaluators tonight. Now we are through with the prepared speeches segment of this evening. And this is the part where we bring in our guests to come up on stage and share with us what brought them here and how they're finding it so far. So I'm gonna maybe just do like a cold call on the names that I see on my screen. And if you could please unmute yourself and possibly, if you are not on the camera yet, activate your camera and let us know what brought you here and how you're finding it so far. So let me first bring up on stage Jackie McKenna. Welcome back, Jackie. I think you're on mute at the moment, Jackie.
Yes, sorry, my voice wasn't playing up. Yeah, as I said at the last session, I was at the GSK Trojan. Now that I've left that and I've paid up the membership, so this is my local club. So yeah, great speeches, and maybe I should try speed dating. Sounds great fun, and the two speeches were absolutely lovely. So thank you very much. Could I ask one question, please? When people are talking and you've got the green, amber and red, should you finish in the amber bit, or what's the ideal? This is where I'm confused. Yeah. So what
I would bring up my timekeeper for tonight, and maybe Linda can justify her role and share what's her take on it.
That's where I'm trying to get to, how many minutes for the table.
Yeah, it's strictly for guidance. If I was there, if you went over your time, say your speech was green at 5, amber at 6, red at 7. If it went on after 7.5 minutes, probably start ringing a bell or something like that. In a club meeting, it's not that important. But if you were in a contest, you would be disqualified if your speech was under 4 or longer than 7.5. But at a regular meeting, it's
so really you should aim for the amber. Is that what you're saying? Finish up in the amber? Or?
I don't think so. I think you should finish when you've got your message across and not taken too long. And sometimes I've thought a speech could have finished earlier. Yeah, it's not a rule. It's not a science. It's just a guide.
Okay. Thank you.
Very true, Linda. Yes, I think that's one learning I'm going to walk away with. Finish when you've put across your message. Let's bring up on stage Pragati. Welcome, Pragati. Could you? Yeah, there you go.
Hello, good evening, everyone. My name is Pragati Koirala. I'm from Nepal, and I moved to the UK in the end of 2019. And I guess coming to a Toastmaster meeting would be, as Flora talked about, something new, doing something new. That would be something new for me. So I'm feeling the kind of anxiety and nervousness at the moment. So I can relate to that, I guess. So and I enjoyed both of the speeches, and I look forward to joining more meetings.
Thank you, Pragati. Right, I'm just gonna swipe over my screen, and I see Joanna Colasso next. Joanna, could you please unmute and your camera is on? Yes.
Hi everyone. Good evening. My story is I am basically from Goa, and I moved to UK back in 2019. But I am absolutely not so new to Toastmasters, because back in Goa, I was a member of Toastmasters. So back when I came to UK, I was looking up for a club, and then, this 1 year I was trying to settle and, move there. And then after 1 year, the COVID started. So I couldn't really join any of the clubs. But the purpose of my meeting today is I'm looking forward to get back into Toastmasters. Second is I think now there are other pathways as well, because I feel being in Toastmasters is an absolute confidence. Second is it also helps in your professional life. I being a business analyst, I want to get that incorporated. And yeah, and the third thing is I get to meet a lot of lovely people like you. So that's about me a little bit. Thank you.
Thank you, Joanna. And I can happily confirm, at least since the time I've been with the club, this is the second Toastmaster from Goa who's attending our meeting. I don't know if it was, just a sheer coincidence or not, but one of club members from Goa was touring and he was living in Ealing and he also visited. So welcome. And if you would like to join this club, I think we'd be delighted to continue your journey with us and be part of that. Right, next up here is Satya. Satya, could you please unmute yourself and share what brought you here and how you're finding the meeting so far?
Yeah, hi, good evening, everyone. I'm Satya. I recently moved to UK. It's been 4 months. I was living in Netherlands for like 5 years. And I have always heard about Toastmasters, but I haven't got an opportunity to join. And I was like busy with my kids. So I thought now is the right time because I'm also returning to work after my 3 years break. So I thought this will really help me at my work and also help me in connecting with new people because I'm also new to the place. So I so far like this meeting. I really liked both the speeches. It was so good. And yeah, I'm looking forward to attend more meetings in the future.
Thank you, Satya. Yeah, thank you, Satya. I just realized my camera was not on. Thank you very much and welcome to Trojans, and thank you for all the guests for coming forward and sharing your thoughts with us. And I think if I could sum it together, yes, we are all of that. This is a great place to meet new people, network, grow your professional presence as well. And I can assure you, if nothing else, you would definitely walk away with a lot of learnings, much like how we learn from our two speakers and our table topics so far. With that, we would move into the network break part of the evening. But before we do that, it's important that we highlight the next part of the meeting is about impromptu speaking, wherein a table topics master would come in and pitch topics to you, and you just need to come up on stage and speak for 1 to 2 minutes. I would strongly advise the guests to take a shot at it. Nishtha is our table topics master. She's already put messages on the chat board, so feel free to reach out to her if you want to get picked for her questions and thoughts that she wants us to share. With that, let's take a quick break. We are at 8:30. I think we can take a comfortable 10 minutes break and come back at 40 past. Is that good? Okay, we'll see you at 8:40. And if you're sticking around, I'm here as well. I mean, if you have any questions, especially for the guests, happy to field any questions you've got.
I was wondering how you become a member.
Right. So Pragati, as you might have gathered, today is the last meeting for the outgoing club officers. The inbound club officer would be the best person to take your request forward. However, just so that to explain the process to you, the way it works is that you essentially register with the club. We are, as I was explaining to you before the meeting, we are like a franchise. So we operate under the guidance from the Toastmaster International. So when you become a member with us, you pay a certain fee to the mothership organization, which is Toastmaster International. But for the duration you are with our club, you pay a fee to be, participating in the operational costs and essentially continuing your program with whichever club you're joining. You are free to join more than one club in parallel as well if you wanted to. I can share the costs with you, but what I can do is, Dil is our current Vice President of Membership. I'm not sure if, I don't think Dil has sent you an email yet because we exchanged emails this afternoon only. I'll connect you with Dil. She would start your process for registration. If you become a member by end of June, then she would be able to see the whole process through. Otherwise, our new Vice President of Membership, he's not here tonight. His name is Sumit Singh. He would be able to take your requirements forward. And once you become a member, you can participate in the meetings officially. You can come in and deliver speeches. You get access to the education program, and you have freedom to go and participate in any other clubs as well, not just as a guest, but as a visiting member. So yeah, there are a lot of benefits, but I would let Dil send you the necessary information. Sorry, I think I'm just, yeah. So if Dil, can I request you to maybe ping Pragati directly? I see you are online. And if you can take her email address and send her the necessary information. Did that answer your question, Pragati? And if you have any other thing, I'm more than happy to.
Yeah.
So in terms of fee, the current, I should maybe mention that. So we operate on a 6-monthly program. So the current cycle is running up till the month of September. So sorry, what I'm saying. September, and September onwards, essentially, it'll be the new cycle. So if you join us now, you will be paying a pro rata fee of joining us. Maybe, we'll not clock June because June is almost done. So you'll be paying for July, August, and September. And thereafter, if you want to renew, you pay for the next 6-month block. The costing works out to be £10 per month, or roughly £5 per meeting, because we meet 2 times in a month. But as I said, it gives you access to go and participate in any club if you wanted to. So if you are, for example, keen to deliver speech every meeting, so you don't have to be restricted to giving a speech only in this club. You can go to any other club in your neighborhood, and now whole world is meeting virtually, so you can go to any club worldwide.
Okay. Yeah, and the learning pathways you talked about, is it available on the website where I could see them?
Yes. So if you go to Toastmaster International website, you would be able to get some good reading material there. And think of it to be like an online learning module. So when you become a member, you can actually progress on your education journey. So like you saw a couple of members today who delivered the speeches. So there are 5 levels to hit in the current education program. And within each level, there are generally 3 to 4 speeches. So you progress on that journey through that education program. And before every speech, there is an online training about what all to prepare, how to prepare. And again, as I said, that's the theory part of it. The way you practice it is by either delivering the speech here or working with any of the members here. So there is very good support available from all the members. So you can pick anybody to say that, hey, I'm preparing my speech. Could you guide me? What should I do? And how can I improve it? And so on. So all such support facilities are available.
Okay.
I'm just checking if someone else is online and if anybody wants to chip in. Simon, would you like to share anything?
Sorry, Tanush, I missed the last bit of the conversation in relation to what? Was it learning?
Yes. So, Pragati was generally asking about Pathways and all. And I was just explaining to her that, Pathways is the online learning module, but with regards to your kind of, well-rounded development with Toastmasters, you can connect with all the members I mean, any member, any and all members of the club, and talk to them about how you can, what are the different techniques we can use, and based on their experience, they can share some ideas on how you can improve it.
Yes, we all have our idiosyncratic ways of preparing and doing speeches. And sometimes it's good to get constructive feedback as to whether or not you've adopted the right approach, because depending upon the kind of speech you're doing, that could affect the way that you prepare for it. For example, I tend to prepare a skeleton and fill it up as I go along, and I do internet research, book reading, speaking with friends, and then rehearsing it. But when it actually comes to delivering a speech, you're guaranteed to make a mistake somewhere along the lines, not necessarily with what you are saying, but how you actually present it. Because the way you do it online is going to be quite different to the way you do it in front of a live audience in a physical environment. Because with a physical environment, you can walk, people can see your gestures more easily. And you can also get feedback from the audience there and then. You can just, you can gauge how your speech is going. And that's probably more important with things like table topics, because you have to make things up as you go along. And for that reason, I find it good to look at the audience and see their reactions to what I'm saying. If they're laughing, I know I'm doing well. If they're not laughing, I know, I need to change my game some way. But apart from that, I mean, you've got online resources. TEDx, if you watch TEDx talks, they're usually quite interesting. You can get an idea as to how other people present. There are also public speaking courses online, which will give you good exercises to practice, and also to help you in preparation of your speech. They give you a text of, you should do this, 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 and this to make sure that you cover all your points. Because we all get caught up in the moment, and preparation is just the key. The more you prepare, the more comfortable you get with preparing, and easier it will come after time. Certainly. And it's also good just talking on a subject you've got no knowledge of, because it helps you to prepare, and communicating that with somebody else also leads you to understand how well did I actually understand it myself. And be prepared to push boundaries. I mean, I've done this may sound offensive, but I did a speech about poo, because people are shy and embarrassed about it, but at the same time, everyone does it, and there are things you can learn about what you produce. But by sort of trying to make it slightly flippant and funny, it's easier for people to take on board, hopefully, some of the key points. So, match your style of delivery with the topic you're presenting, and welcome the feedback, because no one, I think, will ever give a perfect speech. You can always find something that you can improve upon. And all the feedback I've been given, I never remembered. Each speech, I just make new mistakes, but I accept it. I don't mind. I want the audience to be as cruel to me as possible. I don't want them to give me sort of nice comments. I just want to just go for the jugular, because that's the way I remember, is if you go for my throat, then hopefully I won't make that same mistake again. That's the end of my speech. I'm going to go on mute now.
Thank you, Simon. And on that lovely note, if I can maybe quickly just build up on that, and that applies to both the guests as well as existing members, throw yourself into as many extreme situations as possible within the safe, safe boundaries of virtual as well as the physical room whenever we start to meet in person, because we pride ourselves on being the friendliest club to practice public speech in, and to uphold that great standard, we need to be able to make mistakes as well as learn from those mistakes comfortably. So that's one thing you can count on, that this is a place where you don't have to conform to specific standards. I mean, of course, to your standards, but you don't have to worry about what other people are going to think. You need to think about how do you challenge yourself the most. Right. I think we are on time now. I'm just checking. Most of our attendees are back. I do see some of the screens blacked out, but they may join us as and when they do. Before I hand over to the the table topics master for tonight, I just wanted to make another short spiel about the last year. And a few of our club officers are here, so they would of course vouch for some of the extreme adventures we went on. But important thing is that we try a lot of new things in the club. This is like a family, and to keep things interesting, we try a lot of new things. And I would request you all as members, and I would take it upon myself as a member as well, to feed that energy, feed those ideas into the new club officers as well. A lot of those people are taking on this role as a first time responsibility. There would be a lot of things, a lot of fresh ideas that they are going to bring to the table. But at the same time, if there are any things that you think we can try as a club, do voice it to the rightful people. Reach out to Flora directly. She's definitely going to be all ears to you. But at the same time, if you think that it is specific to any individual, be it Nishtha as our new Vice President of Public Relationships, or Tai as our Sergeant Arms, and I see Momo, is she online now? Maybe she's not. But at the same time, there are still some roles that are not filled. So it's a good plug for me to talk about a couple of committee roles that are still not filled. We are still looking for a secretary as well as a treasurer. So if any of you, any of the existing members or new members, if you want to get on that gravy train right from day one, you're more than welcome to. We are looking for a treasurer and a club secretary to help us manage the affairs of the club for the year forward. And if you have any thoughts or questions about it, do reach out to me or Flora, and we'd be more than happy to field those questions. All right, let's go to the fun part of the evening, the table topics. So let's see what our table topics master has got in store for us. So please welcome on stage Nisha Chugh. Nisha Chugh, everyone.
Hello and welcome to the fun part of the evening. I am your table topics master tonight, and I will reveal the theme of the table topics tonight after I ask the first question. Before I ask my questions, for the benefit of our guests, I'd just like to say that this part deals with impromptu speech. I will ask a question, you have to think on your feet, and you have to come up with an answer. It doesn't necessarily have to answer the question. You are absolutely free to say whatever you like or take it into any direction you like, but just feel free and try to speak at least for a minute, which is the minimum amount of time that you have to speak when you're answering a table topics question, and just relax, enjoy yourself. Here comes my first question. You finally get a table with your crush. You take them to the finest restaurant. You order the finest wine and the most expensive food. Then you realize you forgot your wallet at home and you have no means to pay for that dinner with that date. When I was writing this question, I had one and only one person on my mind, and that is David.
when wine was mentioned, my ears perked up and I had a feeling that Nish was going to call on me. Madam Topics Master, fellow Trojans, most welcome guests. I can honestly say that I've never been in a situation like that before. Thank goodness, because I can imagine it being an incredibly embarrassing experience. I actually remember on my first trip to London, I grew up in Canada, on my first trip to London in 1974, and my parents brought me and my sister, and we stayed at this flat where we were staying, and my parents went to a club in Pall Mall where my dad had reciprocal privileges with a very good friend of theirs, and had a wonderful meal. And my dad realized that he had left his wallet back at the flat where we are. So thank goodness I have never had that experience, but vicariously I have experienced it through my dad, who came back to the flat just so embarrassed, so deeply, deeply ashamed that he had invited some very, very dear friends out for a wonderful meal with wine and everything. And then all of a sudden he had to turn to the gentleman and say, "I'm terribly sorry. Can you pick up the tab? I'll pay you back." Thank goodness I have never experienced that. It would be almost as bad as me having to go out and play football. Madam Topics Master.
Thank you, David. I forgot to actually ask the question, and that was, what would you do? But then you have answered that question. So with that, ladies and gentlemen, the theme of tonight's table topics is, in civilized society, holy crap. But you all know what you would say in your head if something like that happened. So let's not say those two words. Let's stick to holy crap. Second question. Your son brings home his date and you realize his girlfriend is a psychopath serial murderer you are treating as a psychiatrist. Because of patient-doctor confidentiality, of course, you can't tell anyone. What do you do? And that question goes to Jackie. Jackie, you're
Yeah,
mute.
I've just unmuted. Thank you, Madam Speaker and Trojans, for the opportunity to speak on this terrible, terrible, terrible dilemma. I hope that I would just let events work out on their own, because I couldn't break my Hippocratic oath, and I would have to let events run their course. But as the Euro football is on now, I'm sure that my son would be really turned off that girl and into the football. So he probably would work it out himself. And just in the break, I don't know if you know that at the football, there's a monsoon going on in Munich, and the two underdogs are winning. So I know my own son, I've got two sons, and they are both mad footballers. And one has actually got a very nice girlfriend, but she is hopping with him at the minute because the football is on. So I am quite sure that he'd be able to overcome that. And I honestly think that is a scenario that wouldn't happen, because I do feel he is a good judge of character, and that situation wouldn't happen. So there you go. As a psychiatrist, I would let nature take its own events, and football has its purpose. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Jackie. The next question is for a person who has an adorable, adorable child, but I'm going to put him in this tight spot with my next question. You're with your child in Harrods. Your child breaks a flower vase. The vase was worth £5 million. What would you do, Tanuj?
What would I do? £5 million. I would just walk up to the managing director of Harrods and say, take me in. Do whatever you like to do. Just take me in, because I cannot afford it yet. I cannot afford it yet unless, how about I actually put it together and we sell it as a unique piece that has been joined out of the shards of a broken vase, and maybe make you a profit. So I would try to turn the situation around. If I'm not able to convince, I don't think I can do much. But to pick on the thread that it was broken by my son and how that could happen, I think it's a very natural thing to happen. You know, you're walking about in Harrods, these things can play out. In past, when such things have happened, we've just walked away to say that, you know, my wife works in retail, so we know that stores are covered for such costs. So it would not be such a big deal, but 5 million is a big ticket item. So you can't really chicken out of that. You have to own up to it. But yeah, I would try to turn the situation around, make a sales pitch and say that, hey, what if we sell it as one of those unique pieces, like, you know, maybe put the Supreme label on it and make it as one of the unique things that has never been sold before. And maybe they would bite into that. If not, I would come back and ask Nishtha for more advice. So thank you very much.
Thank you, Tanuj. I'll probably look around and start breaking other things, and in the end, in the court, plead for insanity, or I'll let my lawyer say that this is a case of mental illness and then get off. Probably that's what I would do. The funny thing is, I'm asking these questions to all of you, and I'm also getting answers from Simon, who's pretty much answering all my questions privately to me, and I will share that probably in the end, and he's giving me some really funny answers. The next question goes to, let's go to Pragati. Pragati, I have a question for you. You called in sick to take an exotic holiday. On the plane, you find your boss is in the seat next to yours. What do you do?
You put me on the spot. So, I guess, I mean, there would be a lot of explaining to do to the boss. However, I guess starting with an apology for lying, maybe, and then just explaining that maybe I needed a vacation from the work stress, and probably end up talking to the boss and enjoying the vacation along with him or her, I guess. I'm a little nervous, so I think I'm going to end it there. So thank you.
Thank you, Pragati. Brave effort. Commendable. All right. My next question goes to someone. I'm not sure whether that person works in the cybersecurity or not, or in a big corporate job or not, but I'll take a chance nevertheless. You are the head of cybersecurity of your company, and you discover a serious security breach. You must inform the FBI or the president of your company, but that also means your entire porn stash will also get revealed. What would you do, Aditi Gandhi?
Good evening, everyone. Thank you for the question, Nishtha. If you've seen my track record, you will never find porn on my laptop, because you see, I had trouble telling you where I've been rebellious in my whole life. So that's, first of all, wrong question. But yeah, I do have a corporate job, and we go through a lot of, we deal with a lot of data for clients. And so it's been hammered into us. Every quarter, we have a training, which we have to do. If we don't, then we get emails from very senior partners, and you get summoned to their rooms, to their offices, cabins, and you get a talking to. The thing that's been hammered into us is that data is, you need to always protect the data, and whatever happens, you have to report. So I think because of that conditioning now, I will have to report the security breach. I mean, to the extent that now if I sit and work in a cafe, I have security screens on my laptop. Just to let you know, I don't work for MI6 or FBI or anything. But I think because of how the value attached to data, we are given a lot of training on being strict about it. And so, yeah, my short answer is, because of the conditioning that has happened, I will report it, but I'm not worried because there'll be no porn stash on my laptop.
Thank you, Aditi. Madam Timekeeper, do we have time for another question? Yeah, okay. My last question is about, okay, so you are at the wedding of your ex-boyfriend, and you see the bride making out with the man of the best man. What do you do, Flora?
Thank you very much, Nishta. I was just thinking, first of all, I wouldn't go to the wedding of my ex-boyfriend. I don't think I would do this. But if I was put in that position, I'm a bit like Aditi. I do like to to say the truth and call out things when they are not right. So I would consider the pro and the con, and I will probably find more pro of actually telling the truth. When we're getting married, it's a big commitment. It's better to know actually what the bride is up to, and that would be for the ex-boyfriend to decide if he wants to know. Maybe he's aware of it. Maybe actually it's fine. It's their relationship. So I will just just explain what I've seen. And if I'm at the wedding, it's probably because I still have a good relationship with my ex-boyfriend. So I wouldn't do it on a revenge. I would just more like helping me to know who he's going to marry, and hopefully it will tell me, well, this is the new way of living now. Thank you.
Thank you, Flora. I hope everybody enjoyed the questions, and think about them, because you might find yourselves in that situation, especially Tanuj. So keep your child away from all £5 million vases. Back to our Toastmaster. Thank you very much.
Copy that, Nishta. Right. So this, after such interesting table topics and kind of increasing the heart rates all over again, I think that's the theme of the meeting, if I could term it that. I would like to bring upon our timekeeper back on stage to share the times of the table topic speakers.
Thank you, Tanuj. Our first table topic speaker was David, about not having enough money to pay. He spoke in 1 minute, 48 seconds. Second speaker was Jackie, about her son bringing home her psychiatric patient, and she spoke for 1 minute, 49 seconds. Third speaker was Tanuj. He spoke about what he would do if his child broke a £5 million vase. He spoke in 1 minute, 32 seconds. Fourth speaker was Pragati. She spoke about taking sick leave and meeting her boss on the plane. She spoke for 47 seconds. Our fifth speaker was Aditi. She spoke about being head of cybersecurity and whether she would inform about a breach. She did that in 1 minute, 33 seconds. And our sixth and final table topic speaker was Flora, about being at a wedding, the wedding of her ex, and seeing the bride having it off with the best man. She spoke for 1 minute and 18 seconds. Thank you, and back to Mr. Toastmaster.
Thank you, Linda. Now, for the benefit of guests, we try to spice things a bit, and to that effect, we also try to nominate who is the best speaker in different categories. We didn't have anything for the speeches category tonight because when it's just two speakers, our internal rule is that we would not have any voting. But for table topics, we had 6. So we are in good luck there. And I am gonna float the voting if I am able to do that. 1 second. I don't know where I go for launching the voting on the iPad app. Just 1 second, please. Does anybody know where to? Okay, I'm gonna.
Sometimes with the iPad, there's reduced functionality.
Sorry, what's that, Jackie?
Sometimes with the iPad, there's reduced functionality and things.
Yes.
But
Yeah.
but I'm not sure. I would need to, yeah, my iPad's
Need to-
completely flat.
Do you want to make someone else a co-host and they might be able to do it?
Yes, so about that, we don't have a co-host facility. Rupa, can I maybe?
You can invite the vote on your personal one-to-one chat.
I was just going to suggest that. So how about we just send our preferred, or our best speaker
let's do that.
choices?
If you could maybe simply text me privately. So our 6 speakers for tonight were David, Jackie, Tanuj, myself, Pragati, Aditi, and Flora. I'll maybe quickly just paste the names and you can reply back to me privately and I'll do a quick tally on the chat. Apologies, we are generally more swift with these things, but tonight, because of technology constraints, we are doing it this way. And I've managed to even lose my chat now. Here we are. Okay. All right, I think we've got a clear majority here. So thank you so much. We can close the votes for that. Now's the time to bring the last evaluator for the evening, and that's for the table topics that we, I can speak for myself. We were, made to go through very, very typical Nishtha style questions. So please welcome on stage Amit Jain, who's the table topics evaluator for tonight. Amit Jain, everyone.
Thank you. Good evening, everyone. Thank you, Madam. Thank you, Toastmaster. So today I will be evaluating the table topics impromptu speeches delivered by multiple speakers. First of all, I want to thank Nishtha for bringing such an exotic kind of topics in a good evening. So that's great. So our first speaker was David, and the first question was if he forgets a wallet at a date. So David was very natural and very honest, and what I found good was his stress of words and use of body language was very good. And though he mentioned that he didn't have the situation himself, but he tried to connect the story with his father's situation. And that is what the impromptu speech is, where you have to speak anything. It's not that you have to speak on the topic particularly, but you can talk about anything, and you have to use take advantage of full time. And David speak for 1 minute 48 seconds, which is a very good use of time. So our second table topic speaker was Jackie, and her topic was if her son brings home for his medically unfit girlfriend. So she also took it very. She also delivered the speech very, very nicely, and she has one great thing about is she has very good pauses during her speeches, during her delivery, and again she tried to connect the dots, and she mentioned that though his son is very good in judgment and will not take that kind of decision, but she delivered in a very positive note and very comfortably. She was very comfortable delivering the speech. Then Tanuj, he mentioned about his child's, if a child breaks a vase of 5 million, so it's a very common situation for anyone with a child. I always see myself also in the same situation. So he also tried to make it a very, he was very natural, I would say, again, because he was smiling and he was behaving like it is a kind of a real situation for him. He was trying to portray that, and which is a very good way of delivering impromptu speeches. So you can engage the speakers, and the speaker engage the audience, and the audience is coming along with you, which is what I liked during his impromptu speech. Well done, Tanuj. Then Pragati, and Pragati was given a very good topic. I think a lot of time when we are in a when we are young, we do those kind of situations when we take a sick holiday and we go for some rounds or do some of our works. So that reminds me of the situation when I was in my first jobs, and I used to do those kind of situations a lot. But I never had that kind of situations, and that she took it very well. And I think this was the first impromptu speech. And the only thing I would say is take good use of time. I still myself feel very scared when delivering impromptu speeches. So over a period of time, you will find yourself more and more comfortable. So don't worry about that. If you're feeling nervous or you are not able to deliver the topic, just try to speak anything what you can and deliver the speeches based on that. Whatever the things that come to your mind, you just have to speak up. Then Aditi, she was talked about discover a cybersecurity breach, and if she is the boss. And the good thing is she tried to use full use of time. To make the full use of time, she used only recommendation is she used couple of ums. That's natural in impromptu speeches when you have to think. And the only thing is the good thing about what I like about is she's not even that role, but she tried to answer the question and she tried to take advantage of the full use of the time. Then Flora, and in a wedding of her ex-boyfriend, and again she tried to make up the situation, and again tried to make a full use of time, and every moment she was smiling, and she was tried to show her honesty, and she tried to take up the challenge and explain the situation very well. So that was all from my side. Thank you, Mr. Toastmaster.
Thank you, Amit. So that wraps up the evaluations for tonight. Can I please bring back on stage Linda to share the times for all the evaluators? Please welcome Linda.
Thank you, Tanuj. We had Nishtha evaluating Aditi's speech, and Nishtha did it in 4 minutes and 33 seconds. Then we had Dil evaluating Flora's speech. Dil did that in 3 minutes and 9 seconds. And finally, we had Amit evaluating the table topics. I gave him 5, 6, 7 minutes, and he got in quicker. He did it in 4 minutes and 43 seconds. Thank you, Mr. Toastmaster.
Thank you very much, Linda. And much like how we did for table topics, could you please ping me the names of the best evaluator in your eyes? So we had Nishtha, Dil, and Amit. Okay. Okay, I think we've got the majority number here. I'm not on mute, right? Okay, superb. Let's queue up the grammarian for tonight. So please welcome on stage David Horn, who very kindly jumped into the position of grammarian to help us understand how many times he's counted the word football and help us understand what kind of language is used. So I thought I'll sneak that in before he does his tally. So please welcome on stage, David.
Thank you, Mr. President, Mr. Toastmaster. I had to make an adjustment to my notes there for the final mention of the word of the day. So first of all, hats off or goals in to Flora, whose home country are the defending world champions of football. To Tanuj, who snuck it in at the last minute. But the winner goes with 6 mentions of the word football to Jackie. So well done, Jackie, with 6 mentions. I mean, wow, you know, I've done word of the day that get 2 or 3, but I don't think I've ever done 6 before. So bravo, Jackie.
I hate football, but I've got 2 boys who tell me about it. I went in the break and I said, give me some football facts quick, you know.
I'm the same. I'm a rugby man, and every time there's a football championship, I put up an image that shows Cristiano Ronaldo lying on the ground, and it says, football is 90 minutes of pretending you're injured. And then in the lower half, it's Gethin Jenkins with blood pouring down his face. And it says, rugby is 80 minutes of pretending you're not.
Right.
But that's not my evaluation. So apologies, Madam Timekeeper. So I said tonight that I wanted to focus on similes and metaphors, and I'm afraid they were a little thin on the ground, but that's okay. I picked up the ones that I heard, and I'll go through them. I also picked up my favorite word of the evening and my favorite expression of the evening, and I will share them with you. So just going through in chronological order, Nish started out as the evaluator for our first speech. And Nish, in her evaluation, said, it was like talking to a friend in your living room. I loved that. It's such a deep and warm and comfortable feeling, like talking to a friend in your living room. You can just get the sense of that so clearly. Aditi, in her speech, made a wonderful statement. She said it was disappointing news from the weighing machine. Again, really powerful, expressive terminology, disappointing news from the weighing machine. And my word of the day goes to Aditi for glossophobia, the fear of public speaking. I will just, and it's not normally my role as grammarian, but I will pick up what Nish said. Aditi, when you use a fabulous word like that, let it sink in. Glossophobia. Wonderful. Moving on then to our second evaluator, Dill. My one critique of the night for grammar, Dill said she repeated her speech again. If she repeated her speech, she didn't need to do it again. But she also used a wonderful expression about like my heart racing. I see the light is green, so I'd best speed up because my timekeeper penalized me for the football debate there. But anyway, Flora, try something new. I loved Flora's expression about overcoming a big mountain. And for those of you who know me and know that I'm very into my Simon Sinek, to reconnect with your why is such a powerful statement. Your why is such a deeply held thing. My final one from Flora, and it was close on the phrase of the day, was when she said, Prince Charming won't come directly into my living room. Moving into the table topics, it was Tanuj first and Nish repeating, who said this was the fun part of the evening. Now, I personally love table topics, but I love that expression. It was the fun part of the evening. It was, we don't have to worry about the prepared stuff. We're uplifted, we're fun. Jackie, in amongst her football things, mentioned the terrible dilemma and the fact that as a medically trained person, she had a Hippocratic oath that she had to uphold. Tanuj, I loved his statement when he said, when he go back to the manager at Harrods and he said £5 million won't be such a big deal. Flora, one of my favorite expressions, let's consider the pros and cons. And Amit in his evaluation talked about such exotic topics, talked about connecting the dots, and talked about behaving like it was a real situation in the context of Tanuja's. But the winner for the phrase of the night goes to Tanuj, who said when he went to the managing director at Harrods about the £5 million broken vase, "I cannot afford it yet." Mr. Toastmaster.
Thank you, David. I really appreciate your feedback as a grammarian tonight. And with that, I am so delighted to say that the business for today's meeting is done, almost. But before we close it all together, I would like to bring upon the outgoing club officers who are present in this meeting. In no particular order, I would actually bring back David. Please help me, congratulate and cheer for all the support that they've offered all along for the past year, both in person as well as in spirit, because of the kind of year we've had. Simon, as our Sergeant d'Arms, he was always there to give us the right guidance, how to conduct the meetings, as well as I really valued his contribution in the committee, because he always came with really fresh ideas, and we really appreciated his input. So thank you so much for all that you've done for us, Simon. And Amit, by far, the Vice President of Education job is the hardest role that you can be playing in Toastmasters. I've done it, so I know it full well, what Amit has gone through. I just hope that Amit feels that he's a much stronger and much wiser person having done this role. Of course, he's more than welcome to take it up again, but he's actually gone one level up. He's actually started a new club altogether. So do drop in that club. It happens on Mondays. But thank you so much, Amit. I cannot summarize how much value you've added to the club, and you've persistently contributed even when you were going through some personal hardship. So thank you very much. With that, I close my role as a president, and I bring to you your new president, Flora Ruffin. Please welcome Flora.
Thank you, Tanuj. Yeah.
Yes, so Flora, stage is yours, the club is yours. We'd like to hear what you'd like to do tonight, as well as further on. And I see some of your new club officers are here, so we'd love to hear from them as well. Please, stage is yours.
I thought we'll just start by saying really thank you for all of your commitment, effort, positivity that you brought to the club as a president. So I think we'll just give you a big, no one is doing it. Okay, sorry. I just want to comment Tanuj and the current committee, or the outgoing committee, for how they've run the club, how smooth everything is going, and looking just at the transition, how Tanuj already has prepared everything and is so organized behind the scenes. So it's really great. And yeah, and I'm very excited to be doing the presidency from now, or from the next meeting. It's going to be a big challenge, but a lot of positive things. And I think Momo is here. So Momo, can you hear us?
Yes, I'm here.
Yes, so don't see anyone else on the committee, but we'll be starting to organize.
Yeah, you've got Nishta as well.
Sorry.
And I think Taye has dropped out. So between Nishta and you and Momo, we've got the current club officers now.
Perfect. And we'll start organizing ourselves so that we are ready for the next meeting. Anything to add, Nishta or Momo?
I'd invoke what Rupa has said several times, and she probably borrowed it from Craig: leave the jersey in a better place. So I hope we can do a good job and make the previous or outgoing members of the committee proud. And I hope we can take the torch forward. That's all.
We look forward to it.
Yeah, I do totally agree with Mishta also, and I've got the same thought. Thank you.
Yes, I think Tanuj wanted me to start and to do the award ceremony, which I must admit is also something I haven't really practiced. So is doing the training very well. So we're just going to do the award for the first time. So I think the first one is the table topic speaker. So vote for the best table topic speaker. So if you can do it like that. And this is David. Well done, David. And the best evaluator is Nishta. Well done, Nishta. And I'm also concluding, Tanisha. Do you conclude?
No, you are concluding. You're the president now, Flora. So please take it away.
Is it not from the next meeting?
No. You. Sorry. I think my camera is switched off. I don't know. No, what I was saying was that no, this is me handing it over to you. So feel free to own the stage and share whatever you'd like to share, and bid goodbye to everybody whichever way you like. But I think we are done with the meeting affairs. So
perfect. Well, I hope I'll see you in 3 weeks' time on the next meeting, and we'll be more prepared, I guess, for that.
thank you, everyone.
Thank you.
Have a good rest of the evening. Bye.
Good job, all. Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.
Thank you. Bye.
Hi, everyone.